Hey everybody, welcome to another video review. This is segment 7 of my Blood Rage miniatures showcase, so to speak. And we've gone through all of the 6 clans, and so now we're going to move on to the Gods of Asgard. The Gods of Asgard is an expansion for the core Blood Rage board game. You do have to buy it separately, and it introduces the concept of the major 6 gods, and you basically put the gods on the board in the different realms, and they will exert a certain effect. And again, based on which god you choose. So it's interesting, and you can decide to play the game using those rules. My personal preference would be probably to play with just the mystics, the so-called mystics of Midgard, and using those mystics, because I think they do add a little different bit of flavor to the core game, almost like extra monsters. But changing the rules of the land, like the gods do, I think is probably for people who are a bit more experienced. With Blood Rage, I've played quite a few games, and I want a little bit of variety or spice to change things up a little bit. And so I probably wouldn't be using the Gods of Asgard in terms of playing them quite as often. But the miniatures that are packaged with it are some of the most beautiful and the most striking in the entire Blood Rage line. So we're going to showcase and show them off. So I have, of course, the painted version on one side and then the unpainted version on the other. Of interest, they do have a different color plastic. So for Odin, he comes actually in 2 pieces. In mine, he's glued in place, but coming in 2 places creates a situation where you can actually paint the throne a little bit easier. So as you can see, one piece is the throne with a beautiful how do you pronounce it? Gurgisil, a tree, and then the 2 ravens, Memory and Thought. And then in the back, you have a little bit more detail, him riding a horse. Maybe those of you who know more about Norse mythology can tell me some of the significance of that. So that's pretty nice. And then, of course, you have Thor himself. You can see how his spear is really bent. You can straighten it, but then it does tend to bend back. So it gives you an idea of what he looks like without the paint. And then, of course, we have next to him the completed Thor. We exchanged a metal rod, very thin, in place of the plastic one to give it more shape. And of course, we still have the plastic tip. So let's take a closer look at the king of the Norse gods. He's painted according to the color scheme in the Art of Blood Rage special edition art book, as are most of the gods. So here's the back. You can see the ravens painted very nicely. And then him sitting on this tree. That was all painted separately before he was glued into position. And here he is, wonderful detailing on the armor, as usual. And of course, his beard. I wonder if they sculpted him with one eye. I mean, he should be missing an eye, but who knows? Maybe this is a version of him where he's not. But he should be missing an eye. Here you go. Again, very nice. One of the more beautiful, I think, figures with him sitting on his throne. I think the sculpt actually just has him with both eyes. But again, the original Odin should have lost an eye. Minor quibble in terms of the Blood Rage design itself. But here you go. This is Odin. Very nice. So I'm going to put him aside. So next up, we have Thor. And again, color scheme right from the book. Great detailing on his hammer, Mjolnir. So this is not the Thor, obviously, from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is from the original Norse mythology, from which Blood Rage draws its inspiration. Really love the detailing of the armor, the big belt, the details of his pants. You can see the horn on his side. The muscle definition, his face. See the magnets below. So here he goes. I'm gonna put him here. And then let's check out Thor next to the unpainted version. Just again, kind of demonstrate the striking work that goes into this. All right, very good. Let's put him back in position. And then next up, the beautiful Tyr. Is it Tyr or Tyr? I pronounce it Tyr. I can tell that it's Tyr because he is, I believe, is this Tyr or is it Heimdall? Let me take a look here. Get a little bit confused. I think this might be Heimdall actually, because he has both hands. Tyr is the one missing a hand. But this guy's one of my favorite painted gods. You can see that he has a beautiful detailing of the armor. Got this huge, I don't even know what to call it. It's like this huge horn, very ornate. And the end of it is like this, monster with the jaws open. A lot of beautiful work on the armor and his face. Look at the sword. So he's got a sword in his right hand, and then he's got that gigantic horn curved over his left shoulder. In the left, you can see the details of the boots, the shin guards. So, stunning paint job actually on the armor. Really, really nicely done. Yeah, I think this is Heimdall. He's got his hand. Here he is next to the unpainted version of himself. Again, you can see how important a paint job is to sort of bring everything out. Look at all of the detail in that horn. Here you go. So next up is Frigga, the only female god. I guess she's a goddess. See her flowing hair, her shield, the sword, and then of course the scabbard. Here's the back. You can see her gold jewelry. Nice touch. Let's have her next to her unpainted version. And there you have it. So moving on, we're going to now check out the one-handed Tyr. So I always get Tyr and Heimdall a little bit confused because they're both kind of like warriors in heavy plate mail. And you can see he also again has the beautiful armor detailing the same type of helmet. Of course, a little bit different coloration. And he has this beautiful shield right here. Let's take a look at the detailing of that. Again, I think Mina really outdid herself when it came to just working on the armor here. I asked for a level 3 for I think the gods, but this is good enough to be at least a 3.5, if not a 4, in my opinion. And again, you can see that down here he has no hand, no right hand. So that tells you that this is Tyr. Top-notch work again on the armor. And here he looks like the plastic version. And just like that. You can see how much work again goes into creating these guys. Put all that paint work on there. And last but not least, we have Loki. So much detail, look at his face. Really nice. And of course his cape. See the boots, his sword. He's in blood red. Again, based off of the art of Blood Rage, was what I pointed Mina to for her color designs. She adhered to them very nicely. But yeah, Loki has a lot of great detail on the front. Very sinister, almost like a vampire. Look at the face a little bit. You see the laces on the boots. And of course his necklace of metal. I think that's a bull of some kind. The front, it's got horns. So there you have it. There's Loki. And let's put him right next to the unpainted version. Here you go. Pretty remarkable, in my opinion, the difference between the two. And finally, this guy here has no unpainted equivalent. He's a very rare miniature, actually. One of the last ones that most people get if they get him at all. So he's the last so-called god. Not really a god of Asgard, but his name is Healy. And I think he's actually based off of one of the main owners of a YouTube channel that really reviews like a lot of board games and stuff. And I think they were having their own Kickstarter, and CMON was kind enough to sort of work with them to create this extra little exclusive for Blood Rage pattern after the owner of the YouTube channel. So it's pretty neat. And I've seen his YouTube videos, and he does kind of look like that, you know, kind of bald with a beard. So I think he must be thrilled to have such a cool exclusive made of himself as a god of Asgard, no less. But this guy's really, really rare. I mean, to get him, it cost a pretty penny. I forgot how much I paid for him, but it's like, you know, it's 70, 80, maybe over close to $100. It's very, very rare. So I don't have two of him. I just have the one that was painted up. But yeah, definitely he's one of the more valuable miniatures. You don't see him painted up very often because normally he's not even unboxed. He's like, you know, lying in a box brand new because he's worth so much. But I decided to break him out, have him painted so we can enjoy him too eventually. So there you go. He is the honorary 7th god of Asgard right here. So I guess my final shot before ending this particular segment is just to put all of our gods of Asgard together and then give you like sort of a group shot of all of them. Right here, so these are the painted gods of Asgard. Very, very nice. Here you go. And then we'll go down the line here, starting with Odin, Thor, Heimdall, Frigga, Tyr, Loki, and of course Healy. Beautiful set of the gods of Asgard. So again, I hope you enjoyed that little showcase of what they're like. Again, not many have a painted version of this guy, for better or for worse. So I think a beautiful inspiration again from the limited art of Blood Rage art book, bringing them to life. The second expansion, I believe, has a larger version of these gods that can be painted up. So we'll see. I'm kind of excited about seeing what they can do with a larger texture, larger so-called canvas to paint. I think the new versions are almost as big as the monsters, so that might be something cool to see. But these are the original expansions. All right, until next time, we're going to go into the monsters finally, but the little ones first. Do take care.